I made a video a couple weeks ago about why I was excited for the Google Pixel 6. And my initial thoughts were that Google was leaning heavily into what made the iPhone so successful, making their own version of the iPhone, and developing a proper Android ecosystem. But I was wrong, and after watching the Google Fall Pixel event, it's clear to me that while Google wants to gain more market share in the smartphone arena, it's not really what drove them to create the Pixel devices, nor do they really want to be anything like the iPhone or any other smartphone company either. Now, Google had their Pixel unveiling event on Tuesday, and as I watched the event, I noticed an overarching theme that may have gone unnoticed at first glance. Google wants to not only make a device that's powerful, but more helpful. Now, this is a very different approach than what most companies are doing. I mean, year after year, we see new phones come out that are more powerful, they have better specs, better cameras, but every time a new device is released, I find myself asking this question: how is this really useful? Prime example being the iPhone 13. Now, I did a video about a month or so when it was released on why I chose to pass on that particular phone. And it's not because it's not a powerful phone. It's actually a very great phone. But Apple just did what Apple always does. It doubled down on things that made its previous phones so great. And outside of the cameras, there really wasn't anything to be excited about or that made my life easier on a day-to-day basis. This is the very reason why I typically gravitate towards Android devices. We've seen companies like Samsung, OnePlus, and Huawei innovate device after device, but with the exception of foldables more recently, the market has kind of become pretty stagnant. Enter the Google Pixel 6 with a design that is very polarizing. You either love it or you hate it. But I gotta say that Google was very intentional with designing a phone that sticks out. And when you add Android 12 to the mix, I would say mission accomplished. Now, I for one love this design choice. Google did a good job of building anticipation and marketing these devices. There's a saying that it takes about 7 exposures to something before we can really form a proper opinion about it. And I think this is why Google chose to start marketing the device months out before it was officially revealed and started shipping. I think Google knew that some people were going to love it and some people were going to hate it. But I'm curious, what do you guys think in the comments? Do you love the design of the phone? Do you think this was a smart way to go for Google? Let me know down below. But back on topic, Google introduced new features that are either exclusive to the Pixel 6 or Pixel devices that, according to their CEO Sundar Pichai, would not have been possible on any other devices. Enter Google Tensor. Now, Tensor is Google's first custom-built chip for their Pixel phones and hopefully other devices in the future. This chip was specifically designed to address features that Google wanted to add to its phones in the past, but due to some of the limitations of the chips that they were using from other suppliers, they just weren't able to do. Some examples being improvements to computational photography and video. Yes, video. Tensor will supposedly allow for things like smart HDR up to 4K 60 frames per second. Now, if you're unfamiliar with what HDR is, essentially it's a way of maintaining image quality with variable exposures. So, allowing the phone or the camera on the phone to see the way that our eyes see, more specifically in a situation like a sunny day. And that requires quite a bit of power, but also the ability for you to be able to control everything from the chip all the way to the software. Other features include Magic Eraser, which essentially allows you to remove things from your photos, such as people or objects, including photos that weren't taken on your Pixel 6. And then you have things like face unblur and computational long exposure. Just things that you're seeing Google do with their cameras that no other company is even attempting to do right now. And then we pivot a little bit and we have things like live translation and speech to text, which from the demos that they showed look promising, but that remains to be seen. I'll be checking that out when I finally get my units to review here. But either way, you can see how these features are just helpful. I love the idea of being able to communicate with people internationally and that being easier. I also like the idea of having Google Translate just available in an app on the fly. And then I'm excited about speech to text, which is supposed to be able to dictate your messages more fluently. I mean, they showed off things like being able to detect vocal inflection and punctuation without you necessarily having to say those words. And that is exciting. So you get the point. These features are designed to solve problems for people. And that's what makes them so different from anything else that's on the market. So I look forward to reviewing these phones. I'm super excited with what Google is doing with these phones now, and I'm interested to see where they're headed in the future. I still have so many thoughts and so many things I want to test when I actually get mine in hand. But let me know your thoughts down in the comments. Do you agree with my thoughts? Are you excited for Pixel 6? Did they hit the mark this year? Drop those comments down below. And as always, remember to like and subscribe. Hit that notification bell so that you get notified every time I go live with a new video. And with that being said, I will see you guys in the next one. Peace.